But hey, that's normal. All right, leave it to you.
Talk about you, Mark. Talk about you.
I'll see you in about an hour. Okay.
Your deepest, darkest secrets. Okay, go ahead.
Initially, I would like to repeat just one line to a recent talk. The talk was for much longer, of course, but this one line can, I hope, put certain things into perspective. You do not love something because it has value. Rather, because you love something, it has value. So you can find love in the smallest item and find pain in the grandest. Love, of course, is the primary. But with the first sentence, the person is looking for love in the external world. But with the second, has found love primarily. As I have mentioned before, it is love which can be your compass, your direction. It is the way all must follow. And if you think of this towards your own bodily self, you must first find love and then find the wonder of the body. It is love that is the breadcrumbs on the path. It is love when you think is lacking in your life will strive you towards change or acquirement in other ways, only to be disappointed. If you do not find your love within yourself, you will not find it out there. You will not find it in the trees, in the sky, or anything made by man. You will not find it in the spiritual, forgive me, in the physical world. It is not there. It is only in the spiritual world. So when you find love for anything, you have opened to the connection of spirit. And that feeling of joy is the connection to spirit. And that is the breadcrumbs to the non-physical world. And you must follow it, not ever understanding it or knowing why. But love is magnetic. It expands outwards and pulls others inwards. As they too follow those breadcrumbs. As it pulls two into one. Not only is this a description of the possibilities within the physical world, but within what you may term to be the hierarchical path in the spiritual world. Those first crossing over feel individual, gradually coming together as one. It is the same with your guides. As you become more connected, there appears to be more guides. So those just beginning their link may struggle to find if they have a guide at all. But as they open and the connection is made, gradually the appearance of more and more and more. It is not that there is more, but once you cross that bridge to our side, and if your connection is true, it becomes apparent with time that the more, in fact, are the one. And they are presented, let us say, in 2, 3, 4, 5, or many more different personality styles. The individuality of the guide is prevalent. But standing behind is the one. As you, your guides, your creator are one. Now you do not come to this understanding without dedication, effort, and the desire, the love to find the way. No sitting for 1 minute here and 10 minutes there and 30 minutes once a month will do the task. You have not found the love for spirit, if that is true. When you sit in these states, there is the love of that process and the discovery that will keep you there and take you further. Yogis do not become yogis without this concentrated effort. The path of love and devotion. So in a moment, we will have our healing list and we will go onwards into a brief talk and questions. So should you have questions, please be prepared. Now, do we have a healing list today?
Yes, we do. The names are Daniel, Lorraine, Francis Rosemary, Mark, Teresa Neal, Helen, Pia, Sonia, Bernie and Tess Parent, Margaret McPherson, Leslie, Jeff D, Joanne Stobart, Susan, Michael, Irene, babies Stephanos and Andreas, George, Angelina, Stella, Loretta Michelle Caputo, Lisa Wiggins, Jack, Ariel, Ed, and Laura, Jane and Patrick, and finally, for all beings on all planes of existence to have healing. Thank you.
Thank you. If you think of the analogy I have given before of sitting in a movie theater and watching the screen, and that screen is showing the film of a person's life. It's there, it's projected all the ups and downs and successes and failures. All the emotions are given into that film from the physical side, from the spiritual side into the movie theater, into the movie screen. It is that, as I have mentioned before, the only component that you have at your disposal. It is the only effort that you make. How much emotion is allowed into that movie that you are watching. Now, it is, as I have mentioned before, only an analogy of the process that you must follow to return into the spiritual. That is crossing the veil. And it is the transmission from what is in spiritual to what is in physical that is in your domain. You are not running your life. Mother Nature is running your life. You are the witness to the life. To those requiring healing, where is the healing required? Well, obviously it is required within the movie, isn't it? It's not required within the spiritual. It is within the movie that is required. The broken arm is on the screen and not in the audience. So what is the point? The point of healing is actually to open the veil between the two worlds. is to put a little hole, if you like, between the spiritual and the physical. It is with the intention of love, of care, of compassion, that that hole opens. And the emotions from the spiritual side can go through into the physical side. So the process of healing is to allow the two sides briefly to be connected. And when that has been done, then the physical side will feel the energy of spirit coming through. Feel the love flowing from spiritual through the hole into the physical. Feel the compassion, the care, the energy. And it is felt because it is not of the world, it is of the spirit that the healing takes place. The gap is made and the emotions flow through. So all healing is to create the link, even just briefly, and to show the patient, the recipient, the client, that there is a hole possible between their physical belief and their spiritual quality. So an effective healer is dependent on two things. One, that the client is willing and also willing to be recipient of the energy, and for the true intention of the healer and the client to create that bridge between the two worlds. To let the purity of energy flow through. And when it does, there is the glimpse of love and emotion that can come through. So when you make a true healing connection, and that hole in the veil, if you like, has been created, then the emotions are there, and the client will not just feel the sensations, but can also feel the emotion of joy or love or compassion or care. So the healer must learn to create the whole, and the clients must be willing to accept it. It must be part of their life story, if you wish. So if you wish to be a healer, or wish to follow the healing modalities that are there, you must spend some time connecting or feeling the true connection of spirit, which in essence is that whole I talk about. Sit in the love, and you'll find you'll become a healer whether you like it or not, because the love is not of your world. Now, this analogy of love not being of your world, but being of my world, you should sit with and see what does that truly mean to me? When you are in love, then you are not in the physical form. You have allowed that little hole to be created. When you find love, the external world or the physical world will take care of itself. When you find love, there is joy. When you find love, there is constancy. You have made the link to spirit. So spend that time in consideration, in reflection. What does it mean when I find love? Is it possible I can find love right now? Can I find it right now? Is it dependent on another? So the healer must love the client. If you are a healer, you would find that very contradictory. I can't possibly love another client. I can't possibly love more clients. If you are to be effective, you need that love. Hence, healing takes place through the heart chakra. Much more than that, of course, but that is where it must take place. So your acts of meditation, of calm, of reflection, of consideration, will not only create the hole between the two worlds, but will keep it open. It is that hole then where love flows through, or spirit flows through, and you see another by the fruit of the tree. And also why others are drawn to that being. So from the physical world, when you look at one who is embodying spirit, you are looking through the veil. You cannot see spirit, but you can see the manifestations of them, the fruit, the love, the peace, the calm. You are looking through the veil. This is a person who has made the hole and then made it a little larger and a little larger. Those that are practicing this process under many different guises will know that the hole, once it's sufficiently large, then all the qualities of wisdom come through that gap. And not just one guide, but many guides are then available. So if you remember last week, there was a demonstration of change of personality. Mid-sentence, a personality came forth and took over the speech. And we have done this before. Now, this was a demonstration to prove to you that beyond the veil is more, much more. Many personalities, many different styles of speech or delivery of message. And it is but a flick of a switch that one personality is here and then another. We have demonstrated this on more than one occasion. sometimes with multiple changes. Now, so I suggest to you, see that love is on our side and follow those breadcrumbs to open that little hole. Look through the hole and see spirit. And let spirit through. See it manifest in your life in terms of fruit, the sweetness of fruit. And see then it is like a black hole, all is drawn into it. Like magnetism, if you wish. So, if you can follow this, it is a wonderful analogy of crossing the veil. Much more we could talk about. So let's see if we have a question. Brandon, are there any that would like to ask?
Yes, I think we have a few brave souls here that can ask some questions. Erica, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Spirit. I have a couple of questions about what spirits do all day. There's some questions that I've been asked from some folks that I've done readings for. And then what happens with reincarnation? Do people reincarnate into animals? And would we know when a soul has been reincarnated?
Well, let us start with your first question. What do spirits do, I guess, with their time or all day? Well, I guess you first start off with lessons of how to play the harp and to sit comfortably on a cloud. I hardly think so. My dear, there is much choice, and you, on entering the spirit world, have as much choice as you wish. But you must become aware of that choice. And that is quite a difficult process to begin with. And initially, spirit or soul, on entering what you're calling the spirit world, will undertake its habits that it has done before. As these are ingrained memories, and it will be rather, what is the word? It will be unloving or cruel if we were to ask that newly arrived soul to do or to run a different life. So on first arrival, they will do all their old habits, which for some people would remain with them for the equivalent of many years. Still going to the same place, still fishing on a Monday, and still doing exercise on a Tuesday and church on a Sunday, etc. It is with realization, with a little bit of what you could say is time, that soul wakes up to choice and does not need to follow habit. Again, this is the same with your world. Your world has to wake up to choice, that it is possible to work in many different ways. So the soul then follows what was habit and then creates new habits and desires additional learning, only then to desire realization. So to begin with, again, it is the memory of the past that is creating the present, similar to your world, until the being wakes up and picks something else. Remember, you come to our world and out of love, not out of cruelty, Out of love, we allow you to do whatever, because that is your nature, that is your choice, your desire. But there's always somebody whispering into your ear, if you like, there is more. So you can see now, this soul I describe is seeking individual satisfaction. It's not ready to grow and to learn just yet, but that is the pathway that is waiting. So hence in mediumship, it is possible for two things: to pick up on the memory that meant that soul was tall and played a certain sport or read certain books, etc. You can pick up on that memory of the previous life. But it is rather like you picking up on the memory of a character in a play that was lived 80 years ago. That soul may not wish to be known by that character any longer. And some drop away that role of a certain person immediately and perhaps do not require or wish to go back to it for many reasons. Now that soul may follow his own education. I will learn to play the trumpet. I will learn to play a certain sport, whatever. I will live by the ocean. These, of course, are still self-satisfying needs. The evolved soul will cross through the veil without any difficulty, will just step across and will step into the purity of light. To stop being many, to become nearer to being the one. And that soul will sit in the light and wait until it's time for rebirth comes, if indeed at all. So reincarnation is, in essence, the replaying of memory, of karma, of beliefs from one lifetime to another. So the personality you know, or the person you know as Erica, on your death will not return. But the soul with the personality will return. And they will return and live a life living out the memory that has been retained within them. So, of course, many people love bodies. So they will constantly gain a body after a body after a body. Within the blink of an eye, will step across the veil and step back into a body because they are drawn that way. Some may not even know that there is a spirit world, a pause in between. The personality will continue for a while and live through the memories and beliefs until they look towards the light and say, there must be some other choice here. So you will hear often those like myself and those professing to know a contradictory opinion that reincarnation exists or does not exist. It will not exist for this being called Erica. It may exist for the personality behind Erica. And the realization will dawn on that being, that's individual soul, that there is more choice and may not then choose reincarnation. So the short answer, some are compelled to be reborn, Some have choice, and some have realization. So there is never a straightforward yes or no regarding reincarnation. It is where that belief system of the individual exists. So again, coming back to the movie theater, some people are addicted to movies. Some people want to know how movies work. And some movies no longer satisfy their needs. I trust that answers your question.
Yes, Spirit.
God bless you, my dear.
Thank you.
Open the veil. Let love come into your life. And let that love heal that injury that you carry.
Thank you.
It is the circling around that energy, of the energy around your injury, which will help this process. And then your choice will be, do I concentrate on the injury? Do I concentrate on the energy? Do I look for where the energy comes from? That is still those same three parts I just mentioned regarding the movie theater. The injury, the energy, the source. If you go back a few weeks, I spoke about the three bodies. The spiritual, forgive me, the physical, the astral, and the causal. Those three bodies are a description of the three locations of your cure, if you wish. Cure is not the right word. That is the breadcrumbs I scatter before you. God bless you, my dear.
Thank
Is there
you.
another question, Brent?
Yes, we have one from Tracy. Tracy, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Ignatius.
Well, good evening to you, madam. I trust you are well.
I am. Thank you.
Good. How may I help you?
I'm curious, are there other masters or a master of this world now, like Jesus was 2000 years ago? And if there are, how are they helping us now globally?
The important thing to realize is you are your master. Now, the guru is within the aspirant, is not external to the aspirant. And of course, that is the path I have alluded to, but that is not the point of your question. But that is the truth. Again, you could follow those three steps I mentioned to Erica. But you are asking, are there any physical incarnations of any masters available to the world now, is what I believe. And indeed there are. There are ones based in Europe, ones based in what you would call America, and ones based within India and other locations. Now, the point of all of these, the teaching that comes through them, some are here to teach, some are here to lead the way, and some are here to be no more than a light. In essence, of course, you could say all three are the same path. There is a child that has been born a little while ago that in another around 5 years' time would be declared as being the reincarnation of the threefold Sai Baba. Prem is what that child will be called, Prem. Now, that incarnation, that Bhagavan, that avatar, will mean that that child will be a teacher within that location where he exists. He will be known within, firstly, his community, as he is already picked to be this incarnation, and will be a guide within that, initially that community and then beyond. Now, you could say that beings like the Dalai Lama, who claims to be no more than a monk, are also guides to help humanity. But you may cross the veil through people other than that. You may sit within the truth of being to know that those beings I have just mentioned are the ones which open the veil. And you too can be that very guide. Some are here to guide just one. Some step across the veil to be the light to many. It is whether you recognize them or not. And you would only recognize them if the light was within you also. So if you're not ready for the words, then your ears will be closed. But if that candle is lit within you, then your ears will be open and you will pick up on the words and follow the breadcrumbs. So the importance of talks like this is to not only light flames and candles within others, which come to manifest later in life, but also to guide them inwardly. The words of these gurus, if we open it to that level, is not for them, is for you. Follow that. Follow the great lamas, those that know. Follow the ones which give without reward, the ones where the fruit is made manifest. If it does not resonate with your light, do not follow it. Because truth recognizes truth. Light is attracted to light. Light is not attracted to darkness, because darkness is the absence of light. So you may find your guru in a physical being, in a short sentence, in a book, or in a cat. There was a story of a monk who for, well, let's say 20 years sat on the edge of enlightenment, but never could quite cross over. For 20 years, he went from master to say, push me that one little step, and could never do it, never found that satisfaction. And then one day he walked through a marketplace, and he walked up to a butcher and said to the butcher, which cut of meat is the best? And the butcher said, every cut of meat is the best. And that phrase took him into enlightenment. Now, you would not understand. I do not expect you to, why that would take him across into the purity. So it is important that those with ears listen, those with eyes see. See through your heart. Open the veil, see through it, allow it in. There are many that seek discovery within the physical world. It is not there. It is when the veil is opened that it comes through. As that monk's veil was open, and that butcher, and you would never think a monk would see a butcher, would you? What is the interest? How was that monk drawn to look at meat when he is a vegetarian? And why would he ask that question when he has no interest in it? He was not drawn to the meat, but to the butcher to say those words, which came through the veil and out of the mouth and into the ear. If you look for your Buddha in India, in China, in America, you will not find them. Look for your Buddha inside and look for the source of that knowledge. Look for the source of where that comes from. Follow those breadcrumbs and you will find your guru, your Buddha, your Jesus, your Sai Baba. They are not physical. Some will have a physical appearance, but the guru is not out there, but in there. Create the hole in the veil and stick your head through. And look for me. I will wave at you. And then you will know my robes, know my being. And together we will walk the path. I am waiting on this side, and I will wait forevermore. My arms are open. My heart is full. Come sit within them. And then you will know that you know and need nothing else. The path of love, my dear.
Thank you, Ignatius, and I will. You inspire me. Thank you.
And I will honor my path. My arms are open now. I am ready. Brandon, I believe our time is done. Would I be correct?
That's correct. Thank you so much for your guidance, wisdom, and service every week that you come to us. Thank you.
Now I come. I do not come for me, but I come for you, and as a result, serve me also. I am the magnet. I am the love. Look for me in the smallest thing, because I am there. But only look if your eyes are open. Open the veil and let me come into your life. God bless you all. Next week will be our last week before a short break. So I wish to answer as many questions as possible next week. We will have another demonstration or something else. Bring your questions, but sit with me in the light as you ask them and get your answer. Until then, God bless you all.